Hi guys, welcome to another video for Overbite Gaming, and today we're going to be talking about Dynasty Warriors. Now, I didn't really want to do a review of a specific entry in the series, and I didn't really want to get into and do a whole retrospective of the series. I just wanted to generally talk about it, so this is coming sort of under Lee Talks rather than a review or anything. Primarily, I didn't want to do like a review of one or the whole lot, because largely the games are very similar. I mean, it's a crowd combat game where you kill thousands of enemy soldiers, you beat officers, you get upgrades from the officers that they drop after they're defeated, you get skill points to add to your skill tree, you know, yada yada yada, and you'll fight most of the same battles in each game. The game itself is based on the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which is kind of fictional and kind of historical. It basically romanticizes a period in Chinese I guess feudalism, and tells its kind of own story within the bounds of that. So you have warriors that were there, some are made up, some battles happened, some didn't, some went one way, the other. You know, it's a mush of history and fiction basically. As such, the games just basically repeat over like the same battles. So you've got like the Yellow Turban Rebellion and the Battle of Hulao Gate, you know, stuff like that, which you see in every entry. What does make the game good though is just how fun it is. This is one of my super guilty pleasures. Like when I buy a new version of it, I know exactly what I'm getting. I know it's not going to be a whole bunch different, but I also know I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it. So it's a cost I'm willing to eat. The footage you're seeing is from Dynasty Warriors 7, I want to say. Just let me double check. Yeah, Dynasty Warriors 7. It's PS3, this one. I do own the disc, but I'm emulating it just so we get a slightly better picture. So enjoy that. So this was just after they started sort of introducing kind of like sort of mid sort of how can I describe it? You sort of go back to a castle or a holding after the end of a battle, and you can do upgrades, you can talk to people, move around, buy different weapons, and obviously then you leave and the gate's open and you just run out the gate and into the battle. And I can take or leave that part of it, because for me it's always been about just killing thousands of people. The absolute power trip you go on. I mean, it's so satisfying when you've got a pretty buffed up character and Lubu appears. Now Lubu is, again, a warrior that is historically there, but some of his deeds, you know. But he's like the mightiest warrior. Everybody's afraid of him. And when you go after him in a buffed up character and just whip his ass, you're just like, oh yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. It makes me happy. I'm sorry. There also are mounts that you can use in the game, although I don't like. They're good for like moving about the battlefield quickly, but like fighting from the mounts has always been really awkward, and I don't like it. So I always get off and fight on foot. Basically, what you need to do is protect your commander and kill bad commander. That's most of the missions. There's bits and pieces thrown in there, like you might have a rock trap where there's rocks continually flowing down one avenue of advance, so you need to go and find the guy that's causing that to happen, kill him, and the rocks will stop. Other stuff like winds that will prevent you from going one way, same deal. So there's a bit of a variety with the battles. There is just a huge cast of characters. There's like over 90 that you can play as. That's ridiculous. 90 characters. They all have their preferred weapons. In the earlier games, you didn't get a choice. You just like, this is the weapon you're using. Off you go. Okay, good. In the newer games, though, what you can do is you have two weapons. You can switch between them. You can combo up the switching. And also you can buy other weapons and upgrade them and get better versions of the sort of same style of weapon. And your character will be more or less capable with certain weapon types. Yeah, it's a nice little wrinkle for it anyways. And you can equip seals to them, which you can increase your attack power or your damage to officers, stuff like that. While you're out killing things, which you do a lot, You will notice a lot of pickups as well. Most of it's just temporary stuff. So you might have double damage, or increase of movement speed, or health regain, or Musou refill. I'm going to be butchering a lot of Chinese words. I'm sorry, I will apologise now. So Musou is basically a special gauge, and you can have like more or less, and you can unlock them as you upgrade your character in the newer games. I think in the earlier ones you just had one, and you filled it up by fighting, and then you press circle, and off he goes and does a big attack. The attacks vary. Some are focused on one target, others will be like this immense area clear. So it's a game that you can certainly work through, because in the earlier ones you'd go through and do what was called Musou mode, and you pick a character from one of the three kingdoms, which are Wei, Shu and Wu, and then you'd go through, do all the battles with him, and you'd unlock stuff as you went through like other characters, and then you'd go through and do it with the other characters, and you see where I'm going. They did change it in story mode, so you just picked a kingdom, so one of the three kingdoms, and you did what was called story mode now, and you go through that and you play the different officers as you go through. It's a little bit, they kind of changed it in 5, where you could do a story mode for each character, but you would only participate in the battles he was actually there for, and I am doing like finger rabbit ears with around there for, because obviously there's some funky stuff going on, such as like tonfas and nunchucks being some of the weaponry which weren't really a thing at the time, so there's that, but it's still good fun. Smacking someone with nunchucks, always good, except in real life where you're more likely to spec yourself, and probably better off using a stick. Sorry, Shad, I'm still your gig, whatever. But just the variety of characters, variety of weapons that the characters use. You get one big, I think it's Guan. I don't know, it's not Guan Yu, it's Guan someone, but he has a massive anchor. Just hits people with a giant anchor. Brilliant, love it. So you have those consumables that you pick up that just give you a temporary buff, but when you kill an officer, who are denoted on screen by being a big red blob rather than just like a red sort of mass, which represents like the sort of rank and file that die within a couple of hits. They will drop stuff like extra attack, extra damage, extra health, so you can buff up your character and make him more powerful. So it's a good idea. Kill all of the officers that you can. The officers are really kind of the only threat on the field. If you just let like rank and file guys, they just stand around and don't really attack very much. They don't do a lot, except move around occasionally. They generally won't win battles on their own. They need the officers to like carry them. So they're the only real threat to your commander. It's like you see like 3 officer blips move towards your commander, you better get your ass back there and defend him, because he's probably going to die if you don't. Which can mean that there's a fair bit of tracking back and forth across the map, but it's not too bad. They're generally not huge, and you do have access to horses anyway, which makes it a little bit quicker. Plus the movement buff, and you can buff your movement in other ways as well. You do have the ability for some characters to use bows, which is ranged weapons, but it plays pretty much exactly the same as a regular weapon. It just has range to it. There's no sort of aiming. You just sort of pivot towards the guys you want to shoot, and he just does like a fan of arrows sort of thing. But I mean, Dynasty Warriors isn't the end all be all, because Koei Tecmo have really diversified basically the same game with so many different genres. I mean, they've done Hyrule Warriors, which is something I haven't played, but obviously has the Zelda characters in it. You've got Dynasty Warriors Gundam, which you play as Gundam with beam sabers and weapons, and that's good. I love that as well. But my favourite is probably Warriors Legends of Troy, because I just love Greek mythology. I don't know why. It's just something I've always been really interested in since I was kid. Sort of watching the Harryhausen movies and Clash of the Titans and stuff like that. That's even my favourite Assassin's Creed, just because You know, I don't really like Assassin's Creed, if I'm honest. But because it was set in Greece and dealt with Greek mythology, I was kind of like, yeah, you get a pass. Okay, good. And I can hang off of this giant statue's wiener, which is kind of funny. So there you go. But yeah, so it's Dynasty Warriors, but set around the Siege of Troy. So you play like Achilles and Odysseus and stuff like that. I do believe I've mentioned before on the channel. Maybe I should do like a proper review of it if I haven't already. We've got some reviews here. It's just it's tough sometimes when you think, well, I don't want to do a video on that this week, and you like go back through like 150 videos. You're like, oh no, I did it there. It's difficult to remember. And also, it's spun off into Samurai Warriors, which is very similar, but obviously based in Japan rather than China. And I've played that as well, and that's you know, they're all good because they're all the same basic experience, and I like the basic experience. Whether or not, you know, it's for everyone, probably not. If you play one and you're like, that's alright, whatever, not really that fussed about it, don't buy anymore. Just play that one when you're in the straight shit. But if you play it and you're like, oh, hell yeah, killing thousands of people, I love it. Yeah, that's me, and I've bought pretty much most of them. I know there are, you've got the Three Kingdoms, which I believe is a strategy spin-off, and we also had Tactics and the Extreme versions, none of really which I've played. I just played the mainline ones, and you know, a lot of the spin-offs, including Warriors Orochi, which is kind of a mix-up between Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors, which is pretty cool. It is on pretty much every platform you can think about. The first one I got was Dynasty Warriors 2. The first game was completely different, and it was on PlayStation 1. I believe it was like a 1v1 fighting game. Which, whatever. It's never been something I've wanted to go back and try to experience anyway, so I've always been happy with the crowd massacring combat from the later game. So that's Dynasty Warriors, and I love it, and it's on everything. It is literally on everything. You can pick a console out of the air, it's on there. It was on Stadia when Stadia was still a thing. Yeah, we're still smug here about our predictions on that one. Nice one, lads. So yeah, I mean, if you want to give it a go, give it a go. There's so many out there. You'll be able to find one for cheap on a system you have, and you know, give it a go. If it doesn't look like your bag, yeah, fair enough. And yeah, I get it. It's the whole FIFA thing where you're buying the same game over and over and over and over and over. To be, in fairness to them, they're not quite as often as FIFA. But like, since I got Game Pass Ultimate, that kind of has EA in it. I get FIFA for free now anyway, or FC for free, because they lost the FIFA license. Anyways, whatever. And there is, I think there's one coming out in 2025, the newest one is coming out, and that's Dynasty Warriors Origins. Although there is rumours, and you know, they've been trying for years, but EA had the license. They want to do a Star Wars version, and I don't know how I feel about that, because the concept of it makes me drool, but I don't really want to give Disney money, so that kind of makes me go, yes, shit, don't do that to me. Which is, it's going to be an interesting, I mean, you got Star Wars Outlaws coming up. I think what I'm probably going to do with that is pay for Ubisoft Connect for a month and play it like that, and then review it for you. Because as I said, I don't want to like spend money on Disney shit. I don't think that's the company that deserves my money, basically, or anyone's, because they just. It's like I said in a comment about Star Trek, I think it was. It's like it's really nice when you see someone making. Was that my previous? It could have been my previous video. It's really nice to see someone make an entry into a property that you love for love of the property, not because they want to cram messaging into it, which doesn't belong in it. and to be fair, no one cares about. That's why no one's watching these damn things. But I'll leave it there because I'm swiftly transiting to a new train of thought. So we'll leave it there. Dynasty Warriors. Never played it? Give it a try. You might like it. And if you want sci-fi, try Dynasty Warriors Gundam. Although there's only 3 of those, so that might be slightly trickier to get hold of. I do have them. Yay me. So there you go. Fill your boots. It's on everything. You should be able to find a cheap copy of one of them. Give it a try. Take it easy, guys. I'll catch you next time.